When I first went to sea was in November 1934, and I went to sea in desperation because I come from Southern Ireland, a little town called Wexford, and there was absolutely no prospects of any job of any decency there whatsoever. So I decided to go to sea, and I applied to this firm for a cadetship. And I have to tell you this, I was paid the wonderful sum of £60 for the whole 4 years. My memories were pretty grim. It was hard work. Most of it was spent shoveling coal into bunkers and any other dirty work that could be found on board a ship. It was usually the cadets that were saddled with it. But at the end of 4 years, there wasn't much about a ship that I didn't know about. You mention any country you like, and I've more than likely been there. The Sextant has been in my possession now for 70 years. I would say it's approximately 200 years, 150 to 200 years old. My fellow officers on the ships I sailed on, they used to refer to my Sextant as something that Nelson would have used at the Battle of Trafalgar. It's a handmade instrument, beautifully made, and it served me at sea for 45 years. And I never changed it, and I never felt the need to buy a new one. In the middle of the ocean, and say in the South Pacific, where there wasn't a lot of traffic about, you were on your own. You were thousands of miles from any land, and that was where your Sextant came into its own. The only way you had of locating your position was using your Sextant to observe heavenly bodies and the various calculations to arrive at a position. But at night, with a nice calm night, maybe in the South Pacific, full moon up there shining, it used to be absolutely beautiful. And the ships then that they needed a man at the wheel to steer them. Your watches were 4 on and 4 off, and the watch from midnight to 4 in the morning was referred to as the graveyard watch. And many a time when I was doing my 2-hour stint at the wheel, your eyes would shut, you would doze off. One moonlight night, the moon was more or less ahead of us. When I woke up, the moon was right behind us. The ship had taken a round turn out of itself. Anyway, we were out in the middle of nowhere. We were really, there was no traffic problems like that. We could do what you like, more or less. It was unbelievable, you know. And on the silence, there was no. The only thing you heard was a bit of a puff from the engine, but the rest was absolute silence. You know, on a calm night, and you could nearly pick the stars out of the sky with your hand. That kind of a feeling, you know. You used to see the dolphins swimming alongside, and the water was more or less, in lots of places, more or less phosphorescent, and they used to leave trails behind them, and they used to frolic in the bow wash of the ship, and you used to see maybe 20 or 30 of them there leaping out of the water and having a great time to themselves, and easily keeping up with the speed of the ship. I think of the times when I really needed to use that Sextant. When you were in some parts of the world, you're surrounded by reefs and little old tiny coral islands. There's no lights or markings on them. And at night time, you had to be very, very careful indeed. And you depended on your sextant then to give you an accurate position. Never in my life did I ever lose my sextant. I never misled it. When I was travelling with it, it was never part of my luggage. I carried it with me when I was travelling on trains or when I was flying up aloft there. It was always with me in the seat I was in. It never left my side. It was a very personal thing, and I suppose you became attached to it and you realised the value it had to you. It probably saved my life on more than one occasion. At times I missed the tranquility of it, but when I retired I felt then I had enough of the sea, and I never really had any great desire to go back to sea. Fortunately, I was married to a very understanding woman and we got on very well together, so I suppose that was the reason why I didn't want to go back. The sextant is still in my bedroom, and now and again I take it out of its case and I go through the motions of taking observations of the heavenly bodies and just put it back again.